Morning, guys. Chris here from Baker Pringle Accountants in Ware. So, this morning's 21st of March 2020. Said yesterday in my video I was going to do a more comprehensive overview of the Chancellor's announcements last night. So, I'm going to split this over two videos, one specifically for self-employed, and the one which is this one here, which is covers mainly limited companies and VAT registered businesses. So start off, I mean, wow, what an announcement. There's still people that are being left out of this, unfortunately, but there is options. There is some options open to everybody, but grants available. Wow, I'm not sure how we're going to be paying for this, but that's a problem for another day. Right, so just a brief overview. So the Chancellor announced this coronavirus job retention scheme. We'll come on to that in a minute. Deferring the next quarter's VAT and income tax payments for self-employed. There's the statutory sick pay package for small, medium enterprises, which has already been announced earlier in the week. 12-month business rate holiday for all retail, hospitality and leisure businesses. Again, that was announced earlier in the week, as was the £10,000 grant for businesses in receipt of small business rates or rural rate relief. Again, the grant funding of £25,000 for the retail, hospitality and leisure businesses, and the loans. So let's go through the whole package rather than just what was announced yesterday. Let's just go through everything. So the big one was this coronavirus job retention scheme. So this is all UK businesses are eligible for this, but only if effectively you've had to close and your workers are furloughed. So if you're carrying on trading, your employees are working from home, this won't be applicable because obviously you're still working. But if you've been forced to close for various reasons, not just industries that have been forced to close by the government, but maybe your supply chain's dried up and there's literally no work, everyone's cancelled your jobs. So you will be able, HMRC will reimburse 80% of your furloughed staff's wages up to a cap of £2,500 a month, which is equivalent of £30,000 salary. Now, at present, they don't have a system in place for actually reimbursing this. As you can imagine, these things have been designed really quickly, and there's potentially millions of people that are going to be affected by this. So they haven't got the system in place yet. So what we're suggesting to people is there will be grant funding if it's applicable to you. But in the meantime, from Monday, I believe Monday, there's going to be some business loans available, which are 12 months interest free, and 80% of that loan is backed by the government. So they should be really easy to apply for most people. And that's going to be the method of getting cash flow quickly so that you can carry on paying your staff before the grant funding comes in. Initial indications, the grant funding for the wages is probably going to be the end of next month, just for logistically, they've got to set a system up for actually paying this back to companies, which isn't available at the moment. So from early next week, we're going to have all our team on helping clients apply for these loans if necessary and giving advice. So please get hold of us early next week, and we'll help you out where we can. The next one, which is useful, I'm not entirely sure how useful, because if you haven't got the money to pay the VAT, you weren't going to do it anyway. But it's still a welcome cash flow boost for lots of companies that maybe have got some cash still, but want to hold on to it rather than give it to HMRC immediately. So so applicable from yesterday up until the 30th of June, if your VAT return falls within that period, the VAT will you won't actually have to pay it immediately, it's not been written off. You still have to pay that, but you've basically got until the 5th of April next year to pay it without there being, without you being subject to debt collection. So it says this is automatic. So when I find out a bit more, I imagine, as I said yesterday, that they will just not take the direct debits. And if you pay by bank transfer, then you won't need to do so immediately. Obviously, if your company is not really affected by this, then just pay it, because the government's going to need the cash to fund everybody else. But so that's a bit of a relief for some businesses, especially ones where maybe they had a good quarter and suddenly their business has been destroyed by this, and the only cash they've got is their VAT money. So that's really good for the time being. But like I said, it still does have to be paid eventually, just not for basically a year. So just bear that in mind. The other one, which, I mean, this is really more for self-employed people. I don't believe that it affects directors of companies or individuals, but if you're self-employed, the second payment on account for your personal tax, which is due the end of July, has now been deferred to the end of January next year. So again, that's brought 6 months on your second payment on account. So it's going to be at least, well, anybody who has to make a payment on account that must be paying at least £500. So offers a lot more than that. So that's great. They've for everybody else. So if you're a director of a company or have other income, there is also the time to pay offer. So if you want to do time to pay, please contact the office. Some of us are working over the weekends where possible, but if you contact us, we'll give you the details of how to do that. There's a dedicated phone number at HMRC. They've got, I believe, 2,000 staff fielding calls, and there's no set rules on time to pay. It's very much on an individual basis, so that's something you need to arrange with them. But we can provide the information you need for that. So this was announced earlier in the week. There's actually, it was in the budget last week. So HMRC, or the government, will refund businesses up to 2 weeks statutory sick pay per employee who has been off due to COVID-19. It's capped for companies with less than 250 employees, which I think is all of our clients. So you should all be eligible for this. Now, again, the mechanism for actually collecting this hasn't been announced yet. They're rapidly trying to sort that out, but that will hopefully have some information for that in the coming days. Again, if cash flow is tight, you can apply for the loans from early next week. Hopefully, the monies will be really fast to pump out, so you can keep paying your staff and then get reimbursed for certain elements of it at a later date. Now, businesses that pay business rates, again, nothing new. This was initially announced last Wednesday in the budget. It was increased on Monday or Tuesday. So I'll just quickly run through this again. So if you work in the retail, hospitality, or leisure businesses, there'll be a list of those somewhere that gives exactly who falls within that remit. You will have a business rates holiday for the next 12 months. So you won't have to pay anything. So even if you've received your business rates bills, I know I've spoken to some of you. If you could please email us the ones you've got, we'll be able to advise if this is applicable to you, and also the cash grants, which I'll come on to in a minute. Again, these are for companies that pay business rates or in receipt of small business rates relief. So please send us your business rates bills. That you would have received those in the last week or two. I know we had ours a couple of weeks back. So if you send them over, we'll be able to give you, let you know what you're likely to get. So again, the hospitality, leisure, and retail industries will get, on top of not paying business rates, will get up to £25,000 in a cash grant per business property. So that's for businesses whose their rateable value of their building falls between 15 and 51,000. Now, this doesn't affect people who work from home unless you have you're registered for business rates at your home. So it's not too many people that's applicable to. It's normally if you've got like a separate building or etc. attached to your house. So for businesses with the rateable value under 15,000, so these are generally people who would get small business rates relief and not pay any business rates, there'll be a cash grant of £10,000. Now, both of these grants, are going to be automatic. They won't need applying for. They will be administered through your local authority. So if many of our clients are in Hertfordshire, or Cambridgeshire, so it'll be administered by your local council. So for us, it'll be East Herts Council, or for if you're in Welling, it'll be Welling Hatfield Council. So there's nothing you need to do applying for this. Again, we're hoping these are going to come out beginning of April. So you will be notified of that individually by your relevant local authority. Again, if you need to get some cash quick just to keep you trading, keep you solvent, then the business loans, again, I've said this a few times, available for Monday. So we've talked about that. So this is the business interruption loan scheme. So briefly touched on it. The government is going to provide lenders. So this will be, they're providing the banks with a guarantee of 80% of each loan. And the loans are available up to £5 million. Obviously, depends on the size of your business, and you'll still be assessed based on, you like if you're turning over 50,000, you're not going to be able to borrow 5 million, for example. It's they're going to be sensible about it. But basically, the government will be paying the bank loan interest for the first 12 months. It was initially 6 months. It's changed just say to 12 months. So you'll be responsible for covering the capital element of it, but there'll be no interest. So it's basically free money for 12 months. But it will need repaying eventually. But it's also guaranteed, because there's an 80% guarantee by the government. It should be really super easy for people to borrow money, because the banks know that 80% of that they're going to receive, and they'll receive the interest. So their exposure is quite limited. Again, there's a few criteria, mainly turnover less than 45 million. I don't think we have anybody in that band anyway. So again, there's details available on the British Business Bank website. So it's not going to be done via your own bank. It's going to be done by the British Business Bank. So this scheme is going to start from Monday. So I suspect it's going to be inundated, but please, if you feel that you need some immediate funding, we will help you through this. So please give us a call or a message. Right, support for larger firms doesn't affect any of our clients, so I'm not going to bother going through that. Time to pay, again, I've just briefly touched on this. If you owe any taxes whatsoever, be it personal tax, corporation tax, VAT, PAYE, CIS tax, then rather than just bury your head in the sand, please phone HMRC's dedicated phone number. It's here. It's 0800 01 59 559. Agree a payment plan with them or a payment holiday. Again, it's individual for each business, but don't just do nothing. There's just a note about insurance there. So, as they say here, it's business interruption insurance that covers COVID-19 is pretty few and far between. I mean, if you've got cover on that, brilliant. I suspect the vast majority of people won't. So that's just a brief or a bit more comprehensive go through of what was announced over the last week to help businesses. Again, please contact us. We want to help you guys through this. We're throwing all our resources at helping you to keep trading. If you're anxious, please just give us a call. We've been inundated with calls, so just if we can't answer immediately, we will phone you back. But hopefully this video will give you some more information, and we'll keep in contact in the usual channels. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and our company Facebook page. So the Facebook page is at Baker Pringle, and the YouTube channel, if you just search for Baker Pringle Chartered Management Accountants, will come up. So that's great. Hopefully some good news for business owners there. I'm going to do another video in a moment for self-employed specifically, so watch out for that too, and we'll be in touch in the coming days. Thanks.